Welcome to the Cybersecurity Simplified podcast, where we take the mystery out of today's top security threats and solutions. In our last episode, we talked about why cybersecurity prevention is back in style, with remote work and mobile devices pushing critical workloads to the edge of the corporate network. Zero trust access is now the holy grail. But it's easier said than done. In this special edition of Cybersecurity Simplified, we will talk about how Highwire is tackling the growing challenge of defending a vanishing perimeter with the Overwatch Prevention Suite. Hi there, I'm your co-host, Susanna Song.
And I'm Dave Barton.
And I love the conversation we had from our previous episode, and we couldn't just stop there because you are doing a phenomenal job bringing prevention tools now into our stack of managed cybersecurity solutions. Tell us a little bit more about what the Overwatch Prevention Suite offers.
So as we've been evolving our defense in depth approach, we saw a gap in the industry, or the industry has been thinking about this gap, and I've been thinking about it as a gap in what we can provide to our end customers. And prevention is one of those topics, right? Everybody's got firewalls. Everybody's got an EDR or an AV tool of some sort. You know, we started the prevention march with selecting SentinelOne, right? Selecting the best EDR on the market. And we are making that available to all of our partners and end customers. And we've evolved that, and we've added to that with this Overwatch Prevention Suite. Fundamentally, one of the problem sets that I hear about a lot is, you know, you got some great tools, but I've got people at home. I got folks working at Starbucks and folks working at the Marriott, you know, or wherever. How can I be confident that my data that's on that device in those environments is protected? And over the last 10 years, I would argue it's been tough to tell people, oh yeah, we got you covered, right? I can't think of a really great security solution that did that for you outside of let's encrypt the hard drive and let's put the best endpoint tool we got. And so what we've been really looking at, and this is where I think is pretty exciting for us, is we have an opportunity to reshape how people are doing remote work, right? I still will say that Overwatch prevention is part of a prevention approach. And one of those approaches is EDR, right? But the second piece of that is this idea of Overwatch Prevention Suite, which does so much more. It takes a majority of those on-prem security tools that your teams have been using for years and moves it into the cloud. And you're going to go, well, why does that matter? My machine's not in the cloud. Well, it is, and it will be in this model. And so the best way to describe this is you're going to start to hear Gartner talk about cloud area networking. Cloud area networking is the really where we're going to remove any dependency in an on-prem solution, right? We're putting all those tool sets in the cloud. So IDS, IPS, cloud firewalls, secure web gateways, CASB, SASE, all those 4 letters. We can talk more about those in another episode.
We're not allowed to throw out acronyms.
I know, so I'm trying not to. Go look those up, because if you think about what they do for your organization, is they provide prevention for internet-based attacks, no matter where the device is. And the device could be your phone. It could be your iPad. Could be a Linux box, a Windows box. Could be a server, right? So there's a ton of ability to take all of these tools, all these controls, and apply them to all the traffic that's leaving your device. Again, a simple example. When I'm in the office, if I try to surf to a site that we block, right? Pornography, guns, whatever your corporate policy is. When I go to Starbucks, I can surf whatever I want. With this new approach, all your policies follow the device.
Wow.
right? So now I can do DLP, data loss prevention, in the cloud. I can do secure web gateway in the cloud. I can do that zero trust remote access we talked about in the last podcast. I can do all that in the cloud. So effectively, with an agent, and I know there's folks on here who are going to go, "Oh, I don't want more agents," and I feel your pain. I've dealt with this for years. My counterpoint is it's very small. It's a very small agent, and all it does is put the device on the cloud. There's no processing done. There's no encryption done. It all happens from the device to the cloud. That's all we do.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, it redirects all the traffic through the cloud as well. So now a very small agent can take my cell phone, right? I can swipe, put it on this cloud area network, and now all of my traffic is going to go through here. Now you may go, well, that sounds invasive,
Yeah, right.
maybe someone else owns it. There's some policy, we can talk about that. But think about this. In this model that we're talking about, I can create what we're calling a SaaS eraser. Susanna doesn't like that term. But effectively, for all of you who have Office 365 email, if I were to have your credentials and you don't have multi-factor authentication turned on, even if you do, there's some man in the middle stuff. But if you don't have it turned on and I had your credentials, I could log in as you. And you know what the bad guys are doing? They're logging in as people and they're saying, just send me a blind copy of any email Susanna gets. That's all they do. They make one rule change and they get out.
Wow.
So now any email you get or send, they get a copy of. In this model, this SaaS eraser model, I tell Office 365 or Salesforce or Box.com or any other SaaS app that has the ability to restrict inbound IP,
Mm-hmm.
I tell it only allow access from my cloud area network. Now, if I do that, even if I have your credentials, Susanna, I can't log in as you unless I'm on your cloud area network. It's a wonderful way to get rid of business email compromise.
Yeah.
And if you think about it from a prevention perspective, that's 85% of the risk that most companies face today is email-based compromise. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, not only are we going to erase your SaaS apps, we're going to do inspection of that data. We're going to prevent the device from going to places you don't want it to go, right? We're going to give you a better way to get remote access. We're going to do intrusion prevention in the cloud. So we're going to see all the traffic and make decisions based on policy. And there's more to it, right?
Yeah.
There's more to it.
And this might be a silly question, but why the cloud area network? Is that because all the data is now moving to the cloud versus a local area network?
So the data where it resides is not as important as the path it takes.
Got it.
So I could have my AWS instance a part of my company's cloud area network. I could have the server over in the corner part of my company's cloud area network. And the data sitting in those two places is not as important as the fact that now I have controls on that data as it traverses the cloud area network and when it egresses my network to go to the internet. And that's where this economy, you're going to see an economy of scale.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of putting a content filter in all of these places, I've got it in one spot, right? And I can control policy. When something bad happens and we find a new phishing site on the internet, I can go to one spot,
right?
Put a block in place, and now everybody's blocked. I've just prevented that from propagating through the network. Super powerful.
That is, I've been hearing a lot of industry terminology around, and you said earlier, SASE or Secure Access Service Edge. It's often referred to as like the cousin of zero trust. Why should we know this? And why should even there are a lot of students who listen to our podcast, why is that becoming more important as we talk about zero trust?
So I think number one, SASE and CASB are the two models that is gaining a lot of adoption. So if you can't talk to it, it's going to be hard to think about how to protect it. So if you're learning cybersecurity, spend some time understanding the principles behind these two ideas, CASB, SASE. Two, I think you're going to start to see with this model, Susanna, I can start to help you reduce your costs and give you better security for similar price or better functionality for a little bit less. So, and by the way, instead of managing 10 vendor contracts or the average enterprise is 53 products, I can whittle that down. And now I can get my hands around risk, right? Versus without a tool like this, I don't know what's happening in Biloxi, or I don't know what's happening in Allegheny, New York. With a cloud area network, I do. I know for a fact that they're on the cloud area network and I'm protecting that data.
And this is really gaining a lot of interest from IT firms or managed service providers because they have a whole stack, right?
They do.
They've got
Yep.
a bunch of different solutions in their stack that they implement, or they manage for their customers. This is going to change a lot of how they build that stack because it covers so much of what they're already doing with one solution.
It does. And I think fundamentally what you're going to see is it's going to replace. So, in a lot of instances through the years, new ideas come out, new tools, and you go in front of the CIO and say, hey, we really need to do ABC. And they'll go, well, what can I stop doing? Where can I shift my spend? And in most cases with new point solutions, you can't, right? Well, I got to have it because it does this one thing.
Right.
In this model we're talking about, this OPS, I'm going to shift spend from about 4 or 5 categories of products to one.
It's
and
amazing.
in the process, giving you better solution for same spend or less spend and add more capabilities than what you have today.
Well, that's definitely appealing.
Cloud area networking, it's where it's at. It's where it's going.
Well, there's a lot to discuss around OPS. In fact, we are still not done with this conversation. So be sure to join us for our next episode, Living on the Edge, with our special guest, John Peterson, the inventor of ZT Edge. ZT Edge is a solution that powers OPS. We are going to get his take on this revolutionary concept of a secure cloud area network.
Yep.
So until next time, I'm Susanna Song.
And I'm Dave Barton.
And this is Cybersecurity Simplified. From all of us here at Overwatch by Highwire Networks, thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time on the Cybersecurity Simplified podcast. To learn more, visit us at highwirenetworks.com/podcast.